All right, let's get right into it. Today, we're taking apart the single most dominant shot in all of tennis, the serve. It's that one moment of pure, raw power that can end the point before it even really starts. But what's the real secret that separates a pretty good serve from an absolutely devastating weapon? Well, we're going to break down the science behind the speed. So you might think, well, it's just about being stronger, right? Hitting the gym, building bigger muscles. But the answer is so much more elegant. And honestly, more scientific than that. It's all about a hidden sequence, a kind of symphony of biomechanics that turns the human body into a ridiculously efficient, high-velocity catapult.
And this right here really tells the story. On one hand, you've got the amateur approach, most of us, right? We try to muscle the ball over with just our arm, kind of pushing it. It's not just inefficient, it's a recipe for a sore shoulder. But then you look at the pros. They're using a full-body whipping motion. It's a repeatable, safe, and powerful weapon. And the secret sauce is that precise sequence, which is exactly what we're about to uncover.
So where in the world does all that power actually come from? Well, believe it or not, it all starts with the ground. Our first big concept is what's called the kinetic chain reaction. It's this idea that every ounce of force in the serve begins right from the player's feet on the court. Think of it like cracking a whip, or maybe a line of dominoes, where each one hits the next one a little harder. The kinetic chain is just that, a system where energy gets transferred and amplified from one part of the body to the next. So it's not about how strong any single part is, it's about how perfectly they all work together to create this, well, this summation of speed.
And this flow is absolutely everything. First, you see the leg drive, pushing against the ground. That's step one. That energy then shoots up into the hips and the trunk, which coil up and then just violently uncoil, multiplying that initial force. It's that super fast rotation that yanks the shoulder and arm forward. The racket itself, it's the very last thing to accelerate. Just watch a player like Roger Federer in slow motion. You see this flawless upward ripple of energy. It's what makes a 125-mile-per-hour serve look completely effortless.
Okay, so before that big explosion of power, there's this really critical loading phase. This isn't just about getting the racket back behind you. No. This is about coiling the entire body to store up potential energy, almost exactly like pulling back the arm of a giant catapult.
The key thing to get here is that these early movements are all about stretching, not straining. What you're doing is loading up the muscles and tendons in your torso and your shoulder like they're giant rubber bands. You're just preparing them to snap forward with incredible force. And, a massive part of this whole setup is the toss. It is so much more than just throwing the ball up in the air. Where you place that ball is a strategic decision. Tossing it a little bit into the court, that sets you up for a big flat power serve. Shifting it out to the side, now you're getting ready for a slice or a kick. The toss literally dictates everything that comes after it. And all of this preparation, all of that coiling and stretching, it all culminates in this one iconic moment, the trophy pose. And listen, this is not for style points. From a biomechanics standpoint, this is the moment of peak potential energy. The shoulder is rotated back as far as it can go. The chest muscles are stretched to their absolute limit. The body is a fully loaded spring. Just picture a classic Pete Sampras serve at its apex. That's the trophy pose, and that's stored power right there. And now, for the main event. From that perfectly loaded trophy pose, we transition into the climax of the entire motion. This is the violent, ridiculously high-speed explosion that generates that breathtaking speed.
Just look at that number. 7,500 degrees per second. Let that sink in for a moment. That is the peak speed of an elite player's shoulder rotation during the serve. To put that into perspective, it's one of the single fastest voluntary human movements in any sport. That is how a server like John Isner can generate so much pace. This is the engine room of the 130-mile-per-hour serve.
So what's actually responsible for that crazy speed? It's primarily this one motion right here, internal shoulder rotation, or ISR for short. This is that powerful forward snap of your upper arm inside the shoulder socket. We're not talking about the whole arm moving forward. It's this specific lightning-fast rotation that acts as the main engine, whipping the racket through the air. But hey, speed is totally useless if you can't control it, right? That's where forearm pronation comes into play. While the upper arm is whipping forward, the forearm is also rotating, turning the palm from facing up or sideways to facing down towards the ground. That final quick snap is what lets the racket strings meet the ball perfectly square for a clean, powerful hit.
Okay, and this is a really crucial point. A lot of people get this mixed up, but these are two separate, totally distinct actions. Think of it this way. Internal shoulder rotation is your gas pedal. It's what creates all that raw velocity. Forearm pronation, that's the steering wheel. It makes sure the racket face is perfectly aligned at the moment of impact. For a serve to be both fast and accurate, these two engines have to fire in perfect sequence.
Creating all that force is one thing, but what happens in the milliseconds right after you hit the ball is just as important. We have to talk about how to safely slow it all down. The follow-through isn't for show. It is the art of deceleration.
And I'm not being dramatic here. This is a serious question. The amount of force ripping through the shoulder joint at this moment is just immense. Your body needs an incredibly powerful set of brakes to prevent the arm from literally being torn out of its socket.
And here they are, the unsung heroes of the serve. These small muscles on the back of your shoulder, the infraspinatus, the teres minor, they are the brakes for your arm. And they do something amazing called an eccentric contraction, which basically means they're firing and working hard while they're lengthening. Just imagine trying to slowly lower a really heavy weight with a rope. That's exactly what these little muscles are doing to protect your shoulder on every single serve you hit.
So let's be absolutely crystal clear about this. The follow-through is 100% functional. It is not for style. A long, smooth follow-through that lets the arm swing across the body gives those braking muscles the time and space they need to safely absorb all that explosive energy. A short, jerky finish, that's a one-way ticket to a career-ending injury.
Okay, so we've taken the serve apart piece by piece. We've looked under the hood. Now, let's put it all back together into a simple, clear blueprint for how to build a powerful and safe serve.
So what's the secret recipe? Let's recap. First, it's about sequence. Remember, power flows from the ground up. You got to use your legs and your trunk before your arm ever gets involved. Second, rotation. Your body is a spring. You need to maximize that coil to store energy, then unleash it. Third is rhythm. A smooth, effortless timing that feels like the crack of a whip is always going to be more effective than just trying to muscle it. And finally, deceleration. A powerful serve requires an equally powerful braking system to keep you healthy and on the court.
So you see, the difference between that 90-mile-per-hour push and a 130-mile-per-hour weapon isn't magic. It's physics. It's a blueprint built on sequence, rotation, and rhythm. And the cool thing is, you now have that blueprint. So the only question left is, are you ready to build your weapon?